Money flows to those who understand it. The rest work until they die. That's not opinion. It's math. I've studied wealth for 4 decades. I've interviewed over 500 millionaires. I've trained more than 5 million people. The pattern is clear. The wealthy think differently about money. The rest live paycheck to paycheck, hoping someday their finances will improve. Hope is not a strategy. I know this because I once slept in my car. I washed dishes for minimum wage. I worked construction jobs that broke my back but barely paid rent. Today I'll show you the 5 wealth traps keeping 92% of people broke and exactly how to escape them. Look around. You probably know someone who works hard but stays broke. Maybe it's you. The numbers don't lie. Most Americans retire with less than $10,000 saved. Most live on Social Security checks. Most die with more debt than assets. Why? Not because they didn't work hard, not because they weren't smart, but because they fell into predictable wealth traps. These traps aren't accidents. They're built into our society. They're reinforced by media. They're perpetuated by financial institutions that profit from your financial ignorance. Today, we break the cycle. The first wealth trap: it never occurs to them to become wealthy. This trap is invisible but powerful. The average person grows up in a family where they've never met anyone wealthy. They attend schools with people who aren't wealthy. They work with people who aren't wealthy. Their friends aren't wealthy. Without wealthy role models, it simply never occurs to them that they could become rich. Like fish unaware of water, they swim in financial mediocrity without seeing any alternative. This mental blindness costs them millions over a lifetime. The solution? Decide today that wealth is possible for you. This decision costs nothing, but changes everything. I once spoke with a janitor after a seminar. He approached me cautiously. "Mr. Tracy, everything you said makes sense, but people like me don't get rich." I asked about his background. He had immigrated from Guatemala, no high school diploma, spoke limited English. I showed him an article about a janitor who had died leaving $6 million to charity. The janitor had invested a small portion of each paycheck for 40 years. My janitor stared at the article. "This could be me?" he asked. "Yes," I said. 6 years later, he owned 3 rental properties and a cleaning business. The difference? He decided wealth was possible. The second wealth trap: they never make a decision. Knowledge without action is worthless. Many people understand wealth principles. They read books, they attend seminars, they listen to podcasts, but they never decide to apply what they learn. They remain perpetual students, always learning but never doing. They suffer from analysis paralysis. They wait for the perfect moment. They want all possible information before acting. This perfect moment never arrives. Years pass, nothing changes. The solution? Make a decision today, not tomorrow, not when conditions improve. Today, now, right here. Your future prosperity hinges on this moment. When I decided to become wealthy, I sat at a small kitchen table in a rented apartment. I had no money, no wealthy connections, no special advantages, just a decision. I wrote it down. I will become financially independent. I signed it, dated it. That decision changed everything. It filtered my choices. It directed my learning. It steered my associations. Decisions have power. They cut off alternatives. They focus energy. Most people never harness this power. They keep their options open. They want freedom, but true freedom comes from commitment, not endless choice. Decide to be wealthy. Write it down, sign it, date it, watch what happens. The third wealth trap: procrastination. People always have reasons to delay. The timing isn't right. The economy is uncertain. They need more education, more connections, more something. This procrastination costs them everything. Money has time value. Every dollar invested earlier is worth multiples later. The math is merciless. A 25-year-old investing $300 monthly until 65 accumulates over $1 million at 10% market returns. A 45-year-old must invest $100 monthly to reach the same goal. Wait until 55 and it's nearly impossible. The solution? Start now with whatever you have. A dollar invested today is worth more than $5 invested in 10 years. Carlos attended my seminar in Miami. He approached me during the break. "I'm 47, he said. "Too late for me?" I asked when he planned to die. He laughed nervously. "I don't know, maybe 85? I did the math for him. "You have 38 years. That's longer than some people's entire careers." His eyes widened. He started that week with $100 in a mutual fund. 5 years later, he had $89,000 invested. The time will pass anyway. You can't control when you started. You can only control when you begin. The best time was 20 years ago. The second best time is today, not tomorrow, today. The fourth wealth trap, inability to delay gratification. This trap destroys more potential wealth than perhaps any other. Most people spend every penny they make. They buy things they don't need with money they don't have to impress people they don't like. They see something, they want it, they buy it. Instant gratification is the enemy of wealth. The wealthy think differently. They ask, do I want this small pleasure now or financial freedom later? They choose freedom. They sacrifice present comfort for future prosperity. The solution? Develop impulse control. Before any purchase, wait 72 hours. Most consumer desires fade in 3 days. I once wanted a new sports car. I could afford it. I deserved it. I worked hard. I drove to the dealership, checkbook in hand. Just before signing, I calculated what that same money would be worth in 20 years if invested. The number shocked me. I walked out. I drove my old car 3 more years. That decision alone added over $300,000 to my retirement account. Small decisions compound into massive results. The wealthy understand this math. They make decisions based on long-term consequences, not immediate feelings. The path to wealth requires saying no to small pleasures now to say yes to financial freedom later. The fifth wealth trap, poor time perspective. Time perspective means how far you project consequences into the future. The poor think about this weekend. The middle class think about next vacation. The wealthy think about the next decade or generation. This difference in time horizon changes everything. It affects how you spend, save, invest, and work. People with long-time perspective sacrifice today for a better tomorrow. They invest rather than spend. They build assets rather than buy liabilities. They make decisions as if they'll live to 100. The solution? Extend your time horizon. Think further ahead. Plan for decades, not days. I ask seminar attendees to imagine themselves at age 80 looking back on their lives. What financial decisions would they be proud of? What would they regret? This exercise shifts time perspective instantly. A 30-year investment horizon transforms small actions into massive results. $100 monthly becomes $200,000. Small sacrifices create generational wealth. The wealthy play a long game. They plant trees whose shade they may never sit under. They act as stewards of resources, not consumers of stuff. Lengthening your time perspective is perhaps the single most powerful mental shift you can make. Now that we've identified the traps, let's talk solutions. The first step to building wealth is to save money. The magic number is 10%. Save 10% of your income off the top before you pay bills or buy anything. This is non-negotiable. Your financial future depends on this one habit more than anything else. But Brian, I can't afford to save 10%. That's what most people say. It's not true. You can't afford not to save 10%. If your income suddenly dropped 10%, you'd adjust. You'd find a way. Consider savings the same way. Pay yourself first, always. No exceptions. James attended my seminar in Chicago. He earned $40,000 annually as a teacher. He had 3 kids, a mortgage, car payments. Impossible to save, he told me. I challenged him to try 1% for a month, just 1%. He agreed reluctantly. A month later, he hadn't noticed the difference. We increased to 2%, then 3%. Within a year, he saved 10% without lifestyle impact. 5 years later, he had $27,000 invested. 10 years later, over $100,000. Small beginnings create large endings. Start with 1% if you must, but start today. Your first step needn't be big. It just needs to be taken. The second step is to develop multiple streams of income. The average millionaire has 7 income streams. The average broke person has one. This is not coincidence. Relying on one income source is like sitting on a one-legged stool. Unstable and dangerous. Develop side income through investments, part-time work, or a small business. Start small. Work evenings and weekends if necessary. The goal isn't more work forever. The goal is building income-producing assets that eventually work for you. Every dollar of passive income represents another small slice of freedom. Maria worked as a nurse making $65,000 yearly. After my seminar, she started a weekend home health care service. First year profits, $8,000. Small, but a start. She invested those profits in dividend stocks. Year 2, $14,000 from her side business plus $400 in dividends. Year 3, $22,000 from business, $200 in dividends, and she bought a small rental property. 5 years later, she had 4 income streams generating $75,000 annually, more than her nursing job. Today she works because she wants to, not because she has to. Multiple streams create freedom. Start your first additional stream this week. The third step is to invest regularly in appreciating assets. Wealth comes not from income, but from ownership. Every paycheck should purchase assets that appreciate and generate income. Stocks, bonds, real estate, businesses, assets that work for you while you sleep. The average person spends first and invests what's left, usually nothing. The wealthy invest first and spend what's left. The difference is profound. One leads to lifelong work. The other leads to financial freedom. Invest at least 10% of your income, increase by 1% annually until you reach 25%. The more you invest, the sooner you achieve financial independence. I met Tom at a business conference. Successful contractor earning $200,000 yearly. Broke. How? He spent everything. Luxury car, vacation home, private schools, designer wardrobe, zero investments. I showed him a simple calculation. If he invested 20% of his income at 10% returns, he'd have $5 million in 20 years. The math shocked him. He sold the vacation home and luxury car. He began investing $4,000 monthly. Today, 15 years later, his net worth exceeds $8 million. His contracting income continues, but he no longer needs it. His investments generate more than his business. Ownership trumps income. Always. The fourth step is to continually increase your earning ability. Your most valuable asset isn't your house or your 401k. It's your earning power, your ability to apply knowledge and skills to create value. This earning ability represents your personal fortune. Invest in it constantly. Read books in your field, attend seminars, take courses, acquire new skills. The top 20% in any profession earn more than the bottom 80% combined. Moving into this top 20% can double or triple your income. With the same saving rate, you'll accumulate wealth 2 or 3 times faster. Personal development is the highest return investment you'll ever make. When I worked construction, I earned minimum wage. I decided to invest in myself. I took a sales course. I read books on communication. I practiced presentations in front of a mirror. I dressed better than my position required. Within 2 years, I moved from construction to sales. My income tripled. I kept investing in my skills. Every dollar spent on self-education returned hundreds in increased earnings. Today, I earn more in a day than I once earned in a year. Not because I'm special, because I continually improved my value to the marketplace. Your earning ability will determine your financial ceiling. Remove that ceiling through constant improvement. The fifth step is to guard against the 4 major financial destroyers: taxes, inflation, debt, and unnecessary expenses. These 4 horsemen devour wealth silently but relentlessly. Learn legal tax strategies. Invest in inflation-beating assets like stocks and real estate. Eliminate consumer debt completely. And cut expenses ruthlessly, especially recurring monthly expenses that compound over time. Cable subscriptions, unused gym memberships, daily coffee purchases. These small expenses become massive wealth obstacles when calculated over decades. A $5 daily expense equals $119.25 yearly or $91,250 over 50 years, without considering investment returns. Small leaks sink great ships. I analyzed expenses with a client who couldn't figure out why he saved nothing despite earning $120,000 yearly. We discovered $2,170 in monthly subscriptions and memberships, streaming services, clubs, apps, programs, most unused or forgotten. That's $27,240 annually disappearing silently. Invested at 10%, that same amount would exceed $1, $4 million over 30 years. He canceled most subscriptions that day. Review every recurring expense in your life. Ask, is this worth the future wealth I'm sacrificing? Be brutal. The temporary discomfort of cutting expenses pales compared to the permanent pain of financial dependence in your later years. Now let me address the skeptics. Brian, building wealth sounds great, but the system is rigged. The game is stacked against regular people. I hear this often. It's an excuse that keeps people broke. Yes, the wealthy have advantages. Yes, some start ahead. But America remains a place where delivery drivers become millionaires through consistent saving and investing. I've documented thousands of such cases. The rules of wealth are simple. Spend less than you earn, save and invest the difference, and let time work its magic. These rules work for anyone willing to follow them. The question isn't whether you can get rich. The question is whether you're willing to do what it takes. I grew up poor. No advantages, no connections, No inheritance. If anything, the deck was stacked against me. I found wealthy mentors. I studied their habits. I read their books. I copied their strategies. I lived below my means. I saved religiously. I invested consistently. It wasn't exciting. It wasn't overnight, but it worked. My wealth grew slowly at first, then faster as compounding accelerated. Anyone can do this. The formula is available to all, but most won't follow it. They want shortcuts. They want lottery tickets. They want get-rich-quick schemes. These don't exist. The path to wealth is well-marked but rarely traveled. It requires patience, discipline, and time. Those unwilling to accept this remain broke. Let me provide a specific wealth-building blueprint you can start today. First, track every penny you spend for 30 days. Knowledge precedes control. You can't manage what you don't measure. Second, create a written financial plan with specific goals and dates. I will have $10,000 saved by December 31st. Third, open an investment account if you don't have one. A simple index fund is fine to start. Fourth, automate your finances. Set up automatic transfers to your savings and investment accounts. Fifth, increase your value to the marketplace through continuous learning. Sixth, develop a side income source, however small. Start this process today, not tomorrow, today. The specifics matter less than the principles. The principles remain constant. Spend less than you earn. Save and invest the difference. Increase your earning ability. Develop multiple income streams. Let compound growth work for you, not against you. These principles have created more wealth than any others in human history. They aren't flashy. They don't promise overnight riches. But they work. They have always worked. They will always work. The question isn't whether the principles are valid. The question is whether you will apply them consistently over time. Consider this. If you save and invest $500 monthly from age 25 to 65 at a 10% average return, you'll accumulate $3,951,149. That's the power of consistency and compound growth. Where will you find $500 monthly? Cut expenses, cancel subscriptions, eat out less often, drive a used car, get a roommate, work overtime, start a side business, develop a valuable skill. The specific method matters less than the commitment. Find the money. Invest it. Let time work its magic. Your future self will thank you with a level of freedom few ever experience. Let me tell you about Robert. He attended my seminar in 1994. Factory worker making $32,000 annually, no college degree, no special advantages, but he grasped these principles and applied them religiously. He saved 15% of his income. He worked overtime. He started a weekend handyman business. He lived modestly. He invested consistently in index funds. He bought small rental properties over time. Today, 28 years later, his net worth exceeds $7 million. He still works at the same factory, not because he needs to, but because he enjoys it. His investments generate more than his salary. He'll work until he chooses to stop. That's freedom, that's wealth. I've given you the blueprint. I've shown you the traps and how to avoid them. I've provided specific steps to build wealth starting today. The knowledge is now yours, but knowledge without action is worthless. What separates the wealthy from the broke isn't knowledge. It's application. It's doing what you know you should do day after day, year after year, without fail. The wealth principles aren't complicated. Applying them consistently over decades is difficult. That's why so few succeed. That's why the rewards are so great for those who do. Your financial future depends on the decisions you make starting today, not next month, not when conditions improve, not when you earn more. Today, right now. The wealthy aren't smarter than you. They don't work harder than you. They simply make different decisions about money. They understand the traps that keep most people broke. They avoid these traps through disciplined habits applied consistently over time. You can do the same. The choice is yours. The consequences of that choice will echo through generations of your family. You stand at a crossroads. One path leads to financial struggle, dependence, and limitation. The path 92% will take. The other leads to abundance, freedom, and possibility. Both paths require work. Both paths involve sacrifice. The difference lies not in the effort expended, but in the results achieved. Choose the path of financial independence. Make your decision today. Write it down, sign it, date it, then take immediate action, however small. Open an investment account, set up an automatic transfer, start a side business, cut unnecessary expenses. The specific first step matters less than taking it. Remember this, money makes a terrible master, but an excellent servant. Build wealth not for wealth's sake, but for the freedom it provides. The freedom to work, because you want to, not because you have to. The freedom to help others generously. The freedom to live life on your terms. This freedom isn't just for the lucky few. It's available to anyone willing to learn the rules of money and apply them consistently. The path is clear, the principles are proven, the decision is yours. What will you choose? Your life is the sum of your choices. Your financial life reflects your financial choices. If you want different results, make different choices. Start today. Remember, it's not timing the market that builds wealth. It's time in the market. It's not getting lucky, it's getting disciplined. It's not finding shortcuts, it's finding consistency. The miracle of compound growth works for anyone with patience enough to let it. Begin now, with whatever you have, wherever you are. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Take that step today.